Hello and welcome to the third place match of the Universal Resurrection Cup. I can't believe we're already here, but we're just one match away from the grand final. And it's Ajax against Zlo here, two of the tournament's best players, but they find themselves in the third place match battling it out. And Ajax from Finland defeated Embers and the Unpwnable before he was defeated in the semifinals in a very difficult match against BC Blackheart. It was very, very close. And Zlo, on the other hand, beat Chevalier and Eisen en route to the semifinals where he was defeated by Pachurico. So the maps for the third place match are Finn's Revenge, Loki, and Roanoke Abyss. And for those of you who are not familiar with the tournament format, the losing player gets to pick map 4 if it's necessary, and if map 5 is necessary, then that's chosen by the player who has not yet picked one. And the winner of this best of 5 will get a third place avatar and $20. So there is a little bit on the line here for these two players. Not huge pressure on them, but it is the third place match of a great tournament in Supreme Commander. So it's going to be a full cast. I'm going to have a complete cast of all the games here. And hopefully I can do the same for the grand final. Maybe I'll go a little bit more in depth with that one. But just sit back and enjoy the third place match between Ajax and Zlo. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen, the third place match of the Universal Resurrection Cup between Ajax and Zlo, the first in a best of 5 between these two players here on the first map, Finn's Revenge. And we can see right away Ajax going for first air here. He's made his dislike of first air strategies clear, but he's going for that, it seems, straight away in this game. And Zlo, I like to go for Cybern, sticking to his preferred faction as well. Could be a slight error on Finn's Revenge, but I'm sure he's well capable of handling that. And we're going to see a first Hunter come out from Zlo, and presumably first Bomber from Ajax. So yes, we have very aggressive starts from both players here. I crank this up to +3 so we don't spend forever on each game. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed the tournament, and we should see some great action in this third place game here between these two players. We see the Bomber now crossing the map towards Zlo's side, and it's going to target the Reclaim first. A very good idea from Ajax here. He's guaranteed to hit that at least. He's going to knock out all the Reclaim here, it seems. Very, very decent attack here from Ajax. Not killing the Engineers, but destroying the potential mass from Zlo. And he's microing fairly well. He does not like people who use the strategy. Here we see Zlo is taking out the Engineer from Ajax, while Ajax takes out an Engineer from Zlo, trying to build the Hydra. So good delaying play by both players. Anti-air finally coming out for Zlo, and the Hydra was missed there. I think Ajax misjudged how much health it had left. He thought he could kill it off, but the Bomber does survive. A bit of an overreaction here from Zlo. Quite a lot of anti-air units produced, and I think the Bomber will go down as it hits an anti-air unit, but it gets a veterancy. Continues to wreak havoc here. Excellent play from Ajax here with his Bomber. We do see a Hunter, actually a Hunter and a Mantis coming in from Zlo, putting pressure on Ajax's back line. Not really accomplishing too much though. I think the Bomber will finally go down. It's been locked onto, but another boost in HP for that Bomber. Surely it's going to go down now. It does. And this is a very mean thing to do from Zlo. He's trying to kill an upgrading T2 mechs. By the way, very, very risky play here from Ajax, going straight for a Tech 2 Mass Extractor. Just 4 minutes. It is possible with this Reclaim, but it's not necessarily advisable. And a bit of a poor play there from Ajax, getting his units caught by Zlo, having to retreat, but he did pull them out in time. So a decent raid. I have to say Zlo is quite a bit behind here. He's not securing his mechs as nearly as quickly as Ajax is. But I think he does have a few more land units, namely because he did go for land and not air. And Ajax went for this stupidly early Tech 2 mechs and now going directly for Tech 2 land. So planning to use Seraphim to full advantage here, first with the Bomber and then with the Ilshivas. And this is a nice play from Ajax here, bringing his ACU down while he upgrades that, just to ensure that he can continue to put pressure on Zlo. He did scout there to make sure that Zlo's ACU is not in the area. And here Zlo has a Jester on the field. He can't use it against the base because he's got air units patrolling from Ajax, but he is able to take out the anti-air on the island. Grabbing those islands is extremely valuable, and all it takes is a single Tech 1 air unit, and you've got the island. Here comes Ajax with his ACU though. Decent attack. Same thing over on this side from Zlo. The Tech 2 land is up. So both players just sort of being cautious. Both have Tech 2 land. Both have their ACUs in proximity to the other's base. I think both also are defending quite well from it. You see some units going down there for Magix. So at this point, a lot of the time in these Fins games, it just degenerates to who can actually figure out what to do with their ACU, because often it's not really able to attack the main base, and sometimes it's tricky to get all the units together at once. And now we see a slight air fight here. Ajax trying to take out the Jester, but realizes there's accompanying air units from Zlo. Ajax takes air control once again, and Zlo will take this island uncontested. A big advantage for him if he can hold on to those Tech 2 or those 2 T1 mexes for a while. It will be quite beneficial in the long run. We see 2 Tech 2 land factories from Zlo now actually gaining a slight economic lead. And a second factory now coming out from Ajax. These players trying to match each other. And see, I think Zlo has very slightly better map control. He's not holding onto this max here, but it's not a big deal, especially as he's got this island here. Big advantage for Zlo. Not only for the maxes, but also for the Tech 2 PD that's reclaimable. Very nice injection of mass into an economy. But here, you can see the Ultrava against the Manti. Zlo did elect to go for hoplites. He's going to have to keep those back if he wants to have any success with them. And he's doing that at the moment. You can see the damage being done to the Ultrava here. The hoplites are quite good at range. Both players actually in very similar positions with their ACUs. It's more like a chess match at this point. I think Zlo is going to have to go to Rhinos at some point, because it's very difficult to manage 2 different fronts when you have to micro the hoplites like that. But hoplites are a bit more spammable, they're a bit cheaper. So Zlo electing to go for numbers here rather than, well, more sturdy units. He's going for numbers instead of that. It's, you could really go either way in this game. So both players with 2 Tech 2 land factors, that's all that Zlo is producing land-wise. He's not making any Tech 1s. So a really focused investment here from Zlo. Actually something similar for Magix, but he does still have a Tech 1 land factory going. And I think Ajax did take out the engineer here with a bomber, but the longer that island goes unchecked, the bigger an advantage it's going to be for Zlo. And Ajax is in a little bit of trouble. He's not in any danger, but there's no way he can come onto land and make any kind of progress with so many hoplites in there. You see a power storage from Zlo going up. Looks like he's ready to use overcharge against the units from Ajax. It's just a very even game here. Can't really call who has the advantage. Ajax is coming back for more. There's no way he can assault the base though. A very clever Ultrava here gets around and kills the Hydro before it's destroyed. Leaves a little bit of a mass present, but did take out the power a little bit. Looks like Ajax will take this right-hand island, so it's going to be an even split of map control between these 2 players. It's a good timing for Ajax here. He's falling just a little bit behind in map control, but that island should even things up, if not swing it back into his favor. See, another factory is going to come up for Zlo. Assumably he'll upgrade that one as well. And a Tech 2 max from Zlo as well, upgrading a second one. Can't tell if he's got any others. Ajax has at least 2, making a 3rd one. So this is really a very, very tight game. It's difficult for either player to make a big investment to change things at the moment because it's so evenly balanced. It's really going to be about who can take the first major risk. Zlo's got a little bit more power in this game, so maybe he can utilize overcharge just a little bit better. He is holding down the left extremely well with these hoplites there in a line. It's going to be very difficult. Assuming he micros correctly, it'll be very difficult, especially with stealth, to take them down with just Ultravas. Ajax might even want to consider bringing in some mobile missile launchers just to have some range. And you can see very nice visual coverage from Zlo there, using a scout. Actually scouts in both locations for Zlo as well as radar. So Zlo has very nice intel over what's going on. Looks like Ajax is taking the first risk. Let's see how this is impacting his economy. He is stalling. and he hasn't really got the best coverage with radar, so there could be a big attack coming on either side if Zlo was to go for something like that where he would reunite or unite his units. But Ajax is going for the gun, and Zlo is on the offensive. Air is also very difficult to call. I think that's even. And here, a little bit of a mistake, actually a big mistake from Zlo, letting his units get absolutely ravaged by the Ultravas. It's a micro mistake there from Zlo, not something that you can say happens every day. And this is a gigantic reclaim, but look how quickly Ajax is onto this. This is the sort of thing that can turn the game into one person's favor, as Ajax can easily hold down this reclaim field with his gunned ACO. Absolutely no question about it. He just needs to have a few units in support, and this reclaim is all his. Zlo recognizes that he's trying to get in there and deny Ajax getting free reclaim. I got a nice overcharge there on Ajax. And Zlo actually did very well there to deny the reclaim, at least temporarily. He got in there and made life difficult, but now it looks like Ajax will have very nice access to a lot of Tech 2 wrecks. See, it must be a very nice boost to his economy. Just have a look at that and see he's got quite a bit of mass in the tank now that he can use. And as predicted, this factory is also going to Tech 2, so 3 Tech 2 factories from Zlo. And still just the 2 from Ajax. And Zlo, with a nice use of a Wagner there, he took out the T2 Maxes from Ajax's island. He's going to take those himself. Once Zlo gets access to both islands, it's going to be a bit of a problem for Ajax, in fact. Zlo is pulling ahead of him in the eco race. He's got all 4 Mexes, core Mexes at T2. He's not upgrading anymore. Those would be too risky to upgrade. And here, Ajax making a big push. He's managed to trap Zlo's units. This could end badly for Zlo. Actually, this could end badly for either player. If Ajax screws this up, there's lots of Tech 2 forces in the area from Zlo. But also a huge army from Ajax. I think this is the entire army of both players. Here, Ajax, if he can overcharge there, that'd be brilliant. Absolutely devastating move here from Ajax, taking out these units from Zlo. But Zlo manages to pull out very nicely. You can see it's just very difficult for Ajax to fight against this because of the stealth. He needs air cover here. He needs to spam T1 air scouts because at the moment he's walking in blind. Never want to do that against Cybern, so you never know what's there. And I see Tech 2 air from Zlo using his economic advantage to full effect. He's got the air cover that he needs, and all he has to do now is use the area effect of his renegades. This may provoke an air fight. If so, it's difficult to call which way to go. I think Zlo has the advantage there. And Ajax running himself into trouble. He's got to make for the water and fast because this force is doomed. He may do quite a bit of damage to the base of Zlo, actually devastating the base of Zlo, but he's going to leave a lot of reclaim here as well. His ACU is under attack. An air fight which Zlo will win comprehensively. Oh, and T2 torpedo bombers from Zlo. Ajax can't do anything about that. This actually might be game over. It looks like Ajax is making quite some progress here. He's leaving a lot of reclaim for Zlo, but critically he did not kill the Tech 2 air factory. And Zlo won that air battle so decisively. You can see there's absolutely no way he can go on land, and Zlo is going to take this victory in game 1. And we'll see how Ajax can do in the second game, but that was a very solid opening to the 3rd place match from Zlo, putting him 1 up in the series. Here we go with game 2 on Loki. Ajax against Zlo here. Zlo is holding a 1-0 lead from the very first game on Finn's Revenge. He took that in pretty convincing style, even though Ajax did make a very formidable push at the end. It looked like Zlo emerged in a winning position. They managed to finish Ajax off by basically checkmating him, if you want to use chess terms. The second match is on Loki. Ajax has proven how strong he is on this map. He actually beat Blackheart in the semifinals when they were playing on this map. It was Ajax's choice that actually leveled that match to 2-2. But now he's playing against Zlo, a different player, going as Cybern. Ajax still sticking with Seraphim. Aside from the 5th game in the semifinals, I don't think he's actually deviated from Seraphim throughout this tournament. So very faithful to his one faction here. And we're seeing a clever use, well not so clever, it's kind of standard. It was clever when it first happened. He's going to use the tree groups here, which will provide quite a lot of energy. And he's going to be able to go 1st land, 2nd land, and 3rd air on a minimal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 P-gens. Normally you'd need that many just to go second air, let alone third air with a land factory, but these tree groups are going to make it possible. If we want to have a look at this, see the first tree group there, already reclaimed 100 power. It's just a ridiculous way of harvesting power early on. Zlo not doing the same thing here, so a little bit different from him. Just going for a much more standard, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 P-gen second, and that's about as standard as you can possibly get. And a ridiculous number of hunters early on from Zlo here. Very, very aggressive. Just like in the last game where he went for an early hunter and actually denied Ajax's reclaim. It really kind of threw a wrench into Ajax's plans of using the reclaim after he had bombed Zlo's reclaim. But we'll see if he can do the same here. A nice cover from Ajax here. He's going to spot those. He does like his early Selines, Ajax does, as he showed in the second round against the Unpwnable. Very well with those. And Ajax is feeling brave here. He's going to go up against the 3 hunters with just the 1 tank. He's going to do very well here. But nice micro from both players, but the class difference in the units was a bit much. Ajax comes out of that well on top. Lots of early units from him. And a retreat from Zlo, so not the best early aggression. If you're going to go for that many hunters, it might be better to split them up and send them to different spots on the map, because when that happens, it's kind of easy for Ajax to just send a few tanks and murder the hunters, because they wouldn't do so well against tanks. And now, a very nice scout from Ajax. I assume these interceptors will respond. He's seen the bomber for quite a while now. Yep, now he's got the lock on that. So everything in the early game going for Ajax. He hasn't really had any problems early on. Zlo kind of playing into his hands a little bit. He's trying to deny some expansion here, but another nice scout. Ajax has seen that. And raiding from Ajax on this side, kind of unchallenged. Zlo put a lot of effort into attacking Ajax and really didn't get much for it. He killed a single tank. I think that was the reward that he got. Nice hunt down with the Celine and the tank. So Ajax playing very solid in this opening few minutes of the game. And Zlo finds himself a little bit behind. And for some reason, he doesn't feel like expanding down here. I guess he must have at least suspected there were tanks there. He's going to go back and finish the Hydra rather than take those mexes. Decent idea from Zlo, and Ajax not wanting Zlo to get anything early on. Now this is the first thing that we've seen Ajax screw up a little bit. He walked all 3 tanks into the ACU. He couldn't have known that was there though. They've already done their damage, and now Ajax is going to deny this engineer. Very important that he denies these, because he can't let those 3 mexes belong to Zlo for too long. That could actually even up the early deficit that Zlo had. Because you can see how quickly he got those. Ajax is still building his mexes, and Zlo's already had them for about 10 seconds. You only need to have one of these for 18 seconds to have it completely pay for itself. So Zlo has certainly profited from these 3 mexes. Could help him repair the damage early on, but now Ajax rolling in, doing some more harassment. There's actually not much here. Zlo going for Tech 2 air, so he definitely feels the pressure on him. He's trying to do something to bring this game back. I guess he figures he's got the 1-0 cushion, so it's not the end of the world if he loses this match, but this is extremely risky play going at 7 minutes for Tech 2 air. I don't know if he's spotted the Air Force from Ajax, but he definitely has air control, so that's not the issue here. But if he manages to screw up with his Tech 2 air, could be bad times for him. Ajax has his quintessential Tech 2 land. That certainly, I think, has featured in every single game that Ajax has played in. The Tech 2 land attack with Seraphim and the Ilshivas. And he's doing a nice job denying the corner. But Zlo, admittedly, also doing a nice job killing off the engineer. Now Ajax taking this with his ACU. So very, very aggressive grab of map control from Ajax. The only thing he's not doing is grabbing his base mexes. He's grabbing every other mex extremely well, just not the base mexes. And now he's spotted the Tech 2 air from Zlo. I'm sure Ajax will not be happy about that. He'll be happy that he spotted it, but he's going to have to find a counter to it. I see Tech 2 flag and an increase in the Tech 1 air spam from Ajax. So he's well prepared to deal with those Corsairs. I think that was just going to be a straight up snipe attempt. I think if Zlo went now, he would have a chance of killing Ajax, but the longer he waits, the closer Ajax will get to the water. and the sooner it will be that Zlo is left with nothing useful. These Corsairs aren't going to do much once Ajax's ACU is in the water, or at least it'll be much more difficult to do anything with them. It's going to be a nice radar. By the way, these buildings are worth almost nothing, so there's no need to run to the middle. Zlo is actually reclaiming the trucks. So I actually didn't even know there were trucks there. That's interesting. But trucks in this game are actually worth a significant amount of mass, so if you find a map with trucks, reclaim them. I guess you learn something new every day. I did not realize those were there. Zlo did pick up on that, so nice play actually. And building a radar in the middle. So that is something to bear in mind. And Zlo preparing his forces here. I think this is basically all or nothing. If he can spot Ajax's ACU and do something, then maybe he can pull something out of his ass in this game, but there's really nothing he can do in terms of winning it normally at this point. Ajax has too much of an advantage because Zlo has such, well, Ajax has so many more land units. Zlo just has these Corsairs. Sorry if I don't seem like I'm concentrating. I'm just trying to think what can Zlo actually do with these. If he goes and attacks the main base, that's probably his best bet, but it really wouldn't be very difficult for Ajax to spam up some Tech 2 flak and kill that off. Zlo still hanging on here, but he needs something to scare Ajax out, because at the moment he's kind of invulnerable to the Tech. Actually, no, he is sticking out of the water. But of course, if Zlo tries to ground fire, Ajax will see that coming a mile away and easily dodge. No problem at all. Zlo now moving his ACU to the middle and then moving back. So Zlo having a bit of a crisis, not being able to decide what to do. Oh, this is a really bad run from the Corsairs. They all got strafed. Well, they didn't get strafed. You can't get strafed by a land unit, but they all got attacked by that flak. And it was a devastating hit on those Corsairs. Very difficult to deal with, and a little bit of an air skirmish there, but now I think with every passing second the chances for Zlo are dwindling away. Now he can't even attack the base because the biggest targets are now under a shield. So it was kind of a bad game for Zlo in the second match. Nothing seemed to go right for him in the early game. He ran his early labs into tanks. He lost some map control early on. He lost his bomber. And then he tried to make up for it with Tech 2 Air. He's going to come in. He's actually going to attack Ajax. He's down to 3k health. 6k health now. Before I say anything, let's make sure he doesn't actually kill Ajax. And I think that just petered out there. Kind of lost track of where the ACU was. And now it's over. Zlo doesn't actually have anything left to kill the ACU with. So Zlo did go for the gamble and it didn't really pay off. See some what the hell are these called? Commerce, the Tech 2's torpedo bombers coming in, but the flak will get in the way. It's almost going to be impossible to kill Ajax. He just has to hug the wall here. He's absolutely invulnerable now. And I think Zlo is just going in to sort of give up in this game. So we are going to go to game 3. It's going to be evened out at 1-1. I think Ajax did just display how good he is on Loki. Really didn't give Zlo a chance in this one. And the third game will be on Roanoke Abyss, a map that I think both players will enjoy, as both are good at playing expansive games. And this is going to signal the end of game 2. Very intriguing matchup so far. The first game was very, very tight. This one, not so much. It was just a little bit of bad luck from Zlo, as he acknowledges here. I'll see you guys in the next game. Now we are in game 3 of this series. Both players looking for a go-ahead win here that would put them in a great position. I just got PM'd as soon as I started this. Rather predictable. In any case, both players still sticking with the same two factions. They have not deviated from that. Ajax, of course, with his Seraphim going first land, a bunch of PGens, and then 2 air, and then more air. So that's kind of not extremely concealed from Ajax there in terms of his plan. Zlo going for more air, well, lots of air as well. So yeah, both players are going to go for lots and lots of early air. That's pretty much what you have to do. Let's knock this up to +2. Actually, let's go +3. Why not? It's a big map, might as well have a fast speed for the game. So really there's not going to be much to talk about here until both players start to send out their early expansion engineers, and we can see how each player does with denying those. That's how the early game is on this map. So the engineers being sent out in all directions from Zlo. Same thing for Magix, but he's going for a slightly different path. This is actually interesting. He's not sending them directly for the major islands. He's going to take the small islands. So that would imply that he's going to go for transports early on, which is kind of risky. Of course, Zlo also being kind of risky, sending out his very early engineers to the islands. But I would still rather do that than rely on a quick transport, because that would be a devastating blow to lose. But I assume Magix is well prepared. He has been throughout the tournament. I honestly think if there was a prize for best build orders throughout, that would definitely go to Magix in this one. So he actually went for the transport with his second air factor, which he got at the 3rd minute mark approximately. So yeah, very, very strong opening from Magix. His build order must be impeccable. It definitely is. So good, solid showing from Magix once again, showing lots of drive in this tournament. Zlo is still just kind of finding his way through, now going for a transport, but he didn't really go for that route. He's sending the engineers over the water. This is going to be interesting here. Will Zlo send this in the correct direction to spot the transport? He's pulling his air away, giving Magix an unchallenged route into the island. So Magix's early game plan did work out quite well for him. We're going to see Zlo now taking the left island and the right island. Magix is going to take this one, and I assume he will be using this transport to then drop on this island. So nothing too eventful in the early game, except that Magix's build order is very impressive. And now Zlo making a nuisance of himself, but he was spotted. Magix is obviously going to target the transport now. Zlo attempting and probably succeeding in, or maybe not. The interceptors from Magix did manage to get behind. Nice catch from Magix. Actually, that might piss Zlo off because he had a gigantic air cover. No doubt that he has air supremacy, but he still managed to let the transport die. I think that was more to Magix's credit, though. He had those interceptors following up. Not to say Zlo still can't make something of this because he's got total air dominance. He can at least kill the transport, but I don't think he can stop Magix from grabbing his island at this point. Both players taking their respective islands. And both have lost their transports, interestingly enough. And looks like Magix is continuing to play well in the early game. Actually, that's fantastic. Absolutely impeccable stuff early on. I am actually impressed. And there we go with Navy coming out from Zlo. Same thing for Magix, although not in the quantity that Zlo is. Look at the build power that he's putting early on. Big investment from Zlo, who's known to be very strong with Tech 1 Navy. I remember he actually went for this map, or somebody chose this map between him and Eisen when they faced off, and Zlo won this in dominating style with his early Navy. Really set the tone for that game. It looks like Magix is just doing better with taking his mechs points, taking them a bit more efficiently than Zlo is. And he's pulling ahead in the economic game. You can see more mass and more power. That's really a very important thing, the fact that he has more power, because that means he can go Tech 2 Air, he can go Tech 2 Navy. Doesn't really matter what he does. And you can see Zlo has more frigates here. Not ideal for Magix to be running into this, but he has to respond because otherwise he's just going to be losing mexes for free. Oh, a bomber coming around the back from Zlo. Decent play. Comes a bomber on this island. These engineers would be a juicy target. This bomber isn't really here to do much, just to harass. And frigate shows up at the right moment from Magix, so this bomber is going to die. And quite a few ships coming in from Zlo. 4 frigates coming against just the 1, and we have Tech 2 Navy coming up for Magix. You can see how good a shape his economy is, and he's able to spam up these torpedo launchers without any difficulty. And it might be time for him to bring his ACU into action here. If he brings it to the beach, he could do some overcharging. He might not want to do that, though. Tech 2 power coming in from Magix that'll put him way ahead in terms of the power game. I don't see any Tech 2 capabilities from Zlo. Looks like a decent push back from Ajax. He managed to get those ships away from his shores. Ship shores. Yeah, sorry. And more production from Zlo here. Just going insane with the early navy. Absolutely insane. Look at this. Are we seeing another all-in from Zlo? We might very well be seeing that because these are lots of Tech 1 ships. Looks like good positioning from Ajax to pick that one off, but more coming in. He manages to grab one, but two take its place. Hydra. More and more ships flooding in from Zlo. There's going to be a destroyer on the field very soon for Ajax, but Zlo also playing well with amphibious units. He's bringing his Wagners in, and I don't think they're as stupidly, retardedly OP as some of the hover units, but they are still extremely strong, the Wagners. Anything that can travel over water and land is very strong in this game at the moment. And Zlo is not willing to let the Tech 2 Navy intimidate him. He's going for Tech 2 Navy of his own. As Ajax brings this destroyer in, once Zlo gets his destroyer down here, he has a clear naval advantage. And this is a terrible spot for Ajax to be in. He needs to be able to defend his island. Quite a few Tech 2 mechs already upgraded. He can't afford to lose that. It's very, very critical that he defends that. And at the same time, he's struggling to defend his base against the Tech 2 forces from Zlo, so this is just allowing Zlo to get a massive economic advantage. I wouldn't say massive. Ajax appears to have way more power than Zlo. Way more power. I actually don't know why. That could actually be the reason why Zlo is able to outspam him to such a degree. But this is really bad. The Wagners are getting in and they're killing the Tech 2 mechs. It's just a little bit more focusing from Zlo, and this could be absolutely devastating for Ajax to deal with. 2 Tech 2 mechs is down, and I think Zlo is establishing himself in a very strong position here. Ajax might be attempting to get a resource allocation, but it's difficult to see where that would take him, and the destroyer is now in place for Zlo. Ajax bringing a second destroyer into play, and now we see Wagners cutting across the whole map. I think the Tech 2 mechs already fell here, getting all the way into Ajax's base. Now, this is not the sort of thing that Zlo is doing to get any sort of major advantage. He's just sending them as far as he can to do as much damage as humanly possible. Big group of Wagners from Zlo here, and he's really taking care of business on this side. Lots of frigates. This is great micro from Zlo. He managed to chase the destroyers away with his own destroyers in the back, but now the frigates are absolutely cleaning up, forcing the destroyers to submerge where they are absolutely useless against the destroyers from Zlo. And it's hard to see where this is going to go from an Ajax perspective. I think Ajax definitely overbuilt power there. For a few minutes he had more than twice as much power as Zlo, but he wasn't really going for any kind of hard airplay. And Zlo's islands have been fairly untouched throughout. Just a really strong naval play from Zlo, and really good micro as well, keeping his destroyers in the back. The destroyers from Ajax are very damaged, although he did do a very good job of killing the frigates from Zlo, so the impetus is lost just a little bit, but he gained so much by attacking this while all this action was going on that you can see the clear economic lead now for Zlo. Clear as day. And Ajax still, this has to be resource allocation, it is. Once he gets that, I guess he could go for Tech 3 Air and try and pull this game back. But there's really not much he can do, because even if he gets Tech 3 Air, a few cruisers from Zlo would solve that. He's already got naval control. Now Ajax has the Tech 2 Air capabilities, but he's forced to use it to defend his own side of the map here, trying to kill mechs that Zlo has stolen from him. Not what Ajax wants to be doing with those. And I can't actually call who has more interceptors. I'm going to have to check. Ajax has 98. Zlo has more than 100, but 25 of them are out of gas, so depending on where the airfile was, this could be very even or very one-sided. But that's not the main focus here. The main focus is that we've got a gigantic naval battle ensuing here. Lots of destroyers from both players. Wagner's also making their presence known. Scouting coming in from Zlo to make sure he's not missing anything. And I'm not sure what's going on here, but Zlo is definitely getting behind Ajax, causing absurd amounts of damage here. Frigate's coming back. Frigate's coming in from Zlo. But now Ajax managed to push him back very well. Very well indeed. He's got lots of reclaim now. And he's got resource allocation. He's going to Tech 3 Air. He's got to try to go to Tech 3 Air at least. And Zlo now taking an island on Ajax's side and using Tech 1 frigates against the T2 mechs. So it was a very good pushback from Ajax, but I just don't think he's got the capability at this point to make a big pushback. In all likelihood, this is going to be a Game 3 win for Zlo. Actually, believe it or not, I haven't watched the games from this round, so everything I'm saying is genuine. Or from the third place match anyway. And now the frigates just target firing the engineers, taking away the capability to make more destroyers. The game is really starting to get away from Ajax now. He does have Tech 3 Air up and running, and he's got the power that he needs to make Tech 3 Air units. But he doesn't even have the space now to work with that he needs. You see, cruisers from Zlo are going to make it a tough ask for Ajax to do anything with Tech 3 Air. And I think Ajax just needs to be going for strat bombers. He can't afford to be making any ASFs. He doesn't even need them. I think he's got air control without them. But whatever he wants to do at this point. See, Ajax really trying to catch up in economy, but Zlo has 4 islands as opposed to just 2 from Ajax. So it's going to be very, very difficult, if not impossible. And you can see how well defended this island is from Zlo. He's got Tech 2 point defense, Tech 2 naval factory. So this game is now going to turn into either Zlo just grinding out the win or Ajax doing something miraculous. And I think this is a bit of a mistake. He's given away the fact that he has Tech 3 Air, giving Zlo plenty of time to build up. You can see how many Tech 1 anti-air turrets are going to go up. Those are actually very effective against strat bombers in large quantities. I think that's the first strat bomber coming out now for Ajax. And Zlo has plenty of time to get his stuff prepared for any kind of Tech 3 air attack. So it was a decent attempt from Ajax. I think he played the early game very well, but he just couldn't handle the pressure from Zlo's Wagners in the middle of the game. Mid-game attacks from Zlo were very strong in this one, and he's found himself very far behind. Once he started to lose his islands, he was in big trouble. Actually now 3 strats on the field for Ajax. If he could actually find where the ACU was for Zlo, maybe a ground fire would yield some kind of result. But Zlo has enough interceptors that he could target fire the strat bombers down before they could do anything. And I think Ajax is actually going for the second resource allocation. He really doesn't need that. It's not what he should be making at this point. To be fair, there's very little he could make that would turn the game around. He's going to lose this island completely. He'll be down at just 1. And the strat bombers came in. They tried to do something. It was rather futile against such a well-defended base from Zlo. And a very nice mix of units from Zlo as well, not taking any chances. Oh, very nice torpedo line from Ajax. Won't be easy to kill that, but destroyers can attack it from range. Ajax now with both resource allocations. Zlo still yet to make one. He's actually got stealth on his ACU. Makes him even harder to snipe. I think the game has been over for a while. It's just Ajax. This is to Ajax's credit, because oftentimes when you're behind in a game you can just keep playing solidly and wait for a mistake, but I think Zlo is a bit too far ahead now to throw the game. Ajax really doesn't have much to kill Zlo with at this point. I think the Tech 3 Air would have been fantastic if the naval game hadn't been lost, because Ajax would have been able to bomb at will with his ASFs. But now it's well and truly over. You can see his ACU is being targeted, even if he gets away, and now that's just a quit from Ajax. That gives Zlo a 2-1 lead in the third place match. putting him just one win away now from winning the third place game, and a little bit of money there. And here we go again, the fourth consecutive Seraphim against Cybern here between Ajax and Zlo. And Ajax did get the map choice here because he lost the third game on Roanoke Abyss against Zlo. And he's elected for Desert Arena, a very build order oriented map. So if Ajax is as well prepared for this as he has been throughout the tournament, he will consider himself to have a very good chance of winning this game. But we'll see how it goes. Zlo is just one game away from gaining third place in this tournament. He's 2-1 ahead after 3 games. He played very well. If not for rather screwing up in the second game, he could have actually won by now. But I'm sure he's just as happy to be 2-1 ahead after 3 games. And see, he's going to go straight for the Hydro. Same thing for Ajax, but Ajax is actually making 2 Pigeons in his base before going on a ridiculous land spam, as you would expect on this map. And this is actually very clever. Ajax is sending out early Selines, and Zlo is a player who's known to go for the Hydros very early on, and this is actually going to be very annoying. If Zlo is paying attention, he'll be able to reclaim that, but it's at least a delaying tactic, and it costs almost nothing to make these Selines. And once they sit on here, what Ajax is doing, for those of you who don't know, if you put the Celine on hold fire and have it sit still, it has both cloaking and stealth, which makes it undetectable. Zlo picked up on that there. There is a way to defeat it though. If you give a short attack move order, the engineer will reclaim it. But it was a very good idea from Ajax, putting Zlo on his toes right from the beginning. You can see already 3 land factories up, 3 land factories for Zlo. This map really moves at a huge, tremendous pace early on when both players have access to so much reclaim. And that's very good play from Zlo there, defending his 2 engineers, not willing to let either of them die, because it's actually very dangerous to have so many early engineers so close together. So Zlo is protecting them with the appropriate measures, and Ajax apparently has recognized where Zlo is sending his stuff. He has his ACU moving in that direction after he's going to reclaim that rock. And some similar stuff here from Ajax. And the thing is, with this one, it might actually be more successful because Zlo might be more focused over here. He might not be paying attention. But he might be paying attention after the last incident. Yep, he hasn't figured it out yet. And we're going to see Ajax move in here. At this point, I'm kind of fully expecting to see Tuck2 land. I'm not sure if we are going to see Tuck2 land, but I'm almost sure that we're going to see it because Ajax really likes that. Yeah, you can see this is where it's actually very nice. This Hydra is being denied. Zlo is a little bit behind in power due to that. I have a little bit of a battle brewing in the middle. Ice is a good play from Ajax, sending his tanks around the side. A lack of intel from Zlo here. That's going to be a surprise to him. He doesn't know that Ajax's ACU is not there. Ajax playing well in general here, raiding on all fronts. And Ajax really is on the front foot here. Zlo is kind of pinned into the center of the map. Not in very many places he can go. And this might be a bit of a mistake from Ajax. He's going to have to pull out quickly because there's a much superior force from Zlo coming in. He did pull out in time. Good play from Ajax. Ajax really is controlling his side of the map much better than Zlo is. You can see the advantage coming in now. He's just managing to keep his units a little bit more together, a little bit more cohesion around his army. And I think he might also be balancing his economy better because he's able to upgrade more. You can see he's on 41 mass as opposed to 27. Of course, arguably that's not very important because the name of the game here is Reclaim, but it also does help to have a solid income. Zlo is going for a little bit of a hike here, trying to get some kills with his ACU. Decent idea from Zlo. And now all the units from Zlo is sort of congregating in the middle. If I recall correctly, he had this sort of situation against Eisen as well. But Eisen, I don't remember if Eisen defeated him on this map. It all seems so long ago now. But this looks eerily similar to the Zlo Eisen game on this very same map. Ajax, you can tell he's at the top of his form right now, because while he's doing all this, he's able to take map control with. He's able to just reach over and take this little corner here. It's just very very impressive how he's able to do that while managing this army here. That's the sign of a player who's playing extremely well. Oh, and here we go with Tech 2 land from Ajax. It's a little bit later than I expected, to be honest, but it is coming. It's kind of inevitable when you have Ajax playing a Seraphim. And now a little bit of a mistake, letting Zlo destroy a lot of his stuff. And Zlo manages to just barely get a point defense up. It's a little bit annoying for Ajax to have to deal with that, but it's weak. Not much health left on that. And Zlo making a very nice counter push here to what was going on earlier in the game. He's going to need Tech 2 land of his own, but I'm sure once he sees the Ultravos from Ajax, he will go for that. Now we can see something very intense here. The armies are very, very similar. Ajax has his AC a little bit more involved than Zlo does. That can be an advantage. A big push from Zlo. Apparently he senses that he's behind, and he is behind a little bit. And the difficulty for Ajax here is that he can't really use his Ultravos very effectively because there is the ACU from Zlo that can overcharge. Very, very difficult to see which way this land battle is going to go, but it's a very close one. The Zlo actually seems to be getting the better. You can see the high concentration of Medusas. I think that's more than half of his army is Medusas. There's way more than half. He's going for 100% Medusas here as Zlo. So it's going to be up to Ajax to just dodge everything. Very hard to play against so many Medusas, but Zlo is starting to take quite a bit of damage. A lucky veterancy there kind of saved him a little bit. The disadvantage of Medusas though is the fragility, of course. Only 140 health on those. ACU can kill it in 2 hits, a tank in a few hits. And Zlo running out of health. He's being target fired. He's got to get out of here. He overcharged there, but he is standing around a little bit too much for my liking. He's down to 600 health, 700 health, climbing up a little bit. While all this is happening, nobody is doing anything because everyone is so focused here. 4,000 health now for Zlo because he got a lucky veterancy once again, but Ajax puts him back into the red. Very, very intense stuff here. And now it looks like Zlo might have run out of steam a little bit here. Very dangerous times for him. He's got to be dodging the Seraphim artillery. So much damage being done. 700, 500 health, 400 health, and Zlo goes up in flames. That was extremely intense stuff. I think you can see from the stats that Ajax was ahead very, very slightly. And he managed to get that Tech 2 land, which gave him the win. I don't see any Tech 2 land from Zlo. That must have been the deciding factor. You can see all the build capacity on it. But that brings us to 2-2, and it's going to be Zlo's map choice for the 5th game, so for the 2nd consecutive. And now these two players will grace the tournament one final time in this 5th match here. Still Cybern against Seraphim, a bit monotonous, it's getting a bit repetitive, but both players are so good with their respective factions, it's alright. And we're going to see, this is Zlo's map choice. So the way it's gone is Zlo takes the lead, Ajax pegs him back, Zlo takes the lead, and then Ajax pegs him back. So if the pattern holds, and especially given that this is Zlo's map, we should see a Zlo win here. But of course, you can never make those types of predictions. Ajax, I'm sure, has other ideas. Knock it up to +2, and a very early Hunter from Zlo. And then I'm sure he'll be going after the Hydro next. Ajax with no such aggression. He's just going to be going second air after, well, an equivalent of 8 P-gens. So a bit heavy on the power, but still well within the confines of a standard build. Zlo will end up with 7 P-gens if you count the Hydro as 5. So another standard build, also second air. Or no, Ajax is going third air. Somehow that looked weird. I'm sure he changed it up. So yeah, he's going second land, third air, I assume he'll get his power from the trees here. So Ajax looks like he's well prepared for this map, just as he has been for every other map. Which is interesting considering that this is Zlow's map, and Zlow has this hunter with quite an elaborate set of commands. He's going to go in and then come right back out. He's already anticipating where he's probably going to need to send that. And we'll see. I think Ajax has an air scout. We'll see if he can spot this hunter. I'm sure he will at this point with this coming in. Yep, there it is. He has seen that. I'm sure he'll be responding to it. So that will not work out for Zlow. I see the tank coming back. That'll be defended against. And Ajax sending his ASU to the right, Zlow to the left. And we'll see what happens here. Yeah, Ajax just hurting the assault all the way. Nothing that Ajax can do about that. And Regular 4 is really a map that requires a lot of skill to play well. There's so many different facets to the game. We've got these plateaus back here which are full of recoil, and these are some very nice power groups. Let's see if Ajax makes use of those, but the real joy is up there, so that's good to deny from your opponent. There's mechs spread out all over the place and on different levels, so you need to have some sort of air presence to get them. You've got the civilians, you need to get those. Hydros in the middle, those aren't as important, but with the expansions, the big expansions, I'm talking, the 3 maxes, 4 maxes expansions, with those being so spread out, it's very important to have a solid presence in all areas of the map. And what a shocker, here comes Tech 2 land from Ajax. And I don't mean that in a sarcastically mean way. It's just that that's a bit expected, but it's very effective. Of course, he has license to do whatever he wants. He's been playing so well in this tournament. If there's a winner of hearts, I think that also has to be Ajax for playing so well. And who knows, perhaps there's $20 in his future. Here comes the bomber from Zlow. I said the bomber, but I didn't even see it being constructed. There's been an awkward little air standoff where Ajax moved his air away, possibly hoping he could trap Zlow. Zlow got out of the way in time though, so air early on has been a little bit strange in this game. Both players establishing a presence in the middle. Ajax going for a bit of a walk. He's going to try and go around this lake, deny the promised land. And Ajax taking his expansions much more quickly than Zlow. You see he's already got those 4. Zlow is still very far away from even getting there. And I forgot to mention that there's quite a bit of reclaim en route to those expansions. Ajax already picked that up, so he should be well ahead in terms of the early play. What is Zlow doing? What the hell is going on here? Is this a misclick? I have no idea, but he's going to Ajax's base, which would be fine. I wouldn't have a problem with that, but he doesn't have an army to support himself. Now Ajax will see that. He's fully aware of what's going on. Zlow, now aware that Ajax is fully aware, will at least have the presence of mind to do some reconnaissance before he does suicide mission like he seems to be planning. Oh, but this is clever play from Zlow, using his forces to go around the ACU, using the superior speed of his units. And if he can link all these units up with his ACU, he's in a good position to make a push. Maybe this isn't as crazy. At least with these Manti, he can make a strong push against Ajax's base. But he's got to do it before Ajax can trap him. He's still not grabbing his expansion here, and he doesn't even have engineering presence in the area. So the longer this goes on, the farther and farther behind you're going to see Zlow get in this game. He's going to have to make something happen. He knows that the Ilshevas are there. Does he have the power capability to overcharge? He does indeed, but maybe only 1 or 2. He doesn't have a very high power income. There he gets 1 overcharge off. Now actually stalling math, that's going to work in his favor as he recharges his overcharge more quickly. And he is going to have to bring his units up into the middle of the map to support. Both players going for the civilians at similar times. Civilians are worth a lot of mass on this map, so if you neglect them, that can be very detrimental. And Zlow not keeping his units closely together. It's not ideal here. He has got his reinforcements coming in. He's got to make a push now. As you can see, he's falling behind in economy. He still isn't able to get this expansion. Ajax has had his expansion for quite a long time now. Zlo attempting to change that, but there's a point defense. 3 Manti will never break that down. Zlo, to his credit, does have a very strong force in the middle. But this, I hadn't even noticed this. This is a very nice Selene from Ajax, using the stealth and cloak to full capability. And this is the sort of stuff that also shows a very good Seraphim player. Look at the placement of the Selene. It can monitor the entire choke point here, so Zlo cannot do anything in the middle that Ajax doesn't know about. And Zlo has absolutely no way of knowing that that thing is there. It's not like his units are bumping into it, it's so small. The only thing they could detect it at this point would be the ACU. And Zlo's ACU is up here, so very nice intel from Ajax. He's able to see exactly what he needs to defend, and he can see where the ACU is, and he can harass from different sides. Zlo might be feeling a bit claustrophobic here. Looks like something took out the Selene. Must have been the engineer. Nothing else could have even seen it. So Zlo might want to get out of the middle. Ajax also is having ideas about pushing Zlo away. And now it's not very gracious from Zlo. He's going to put everything into the middle. So basically now he's either going to run Ajax over, or he's going to run out of steam and lose. How many Manti does he actually have here? 111. That's all. You know, 12 minutes, 116 Manti. It's, it's decent. No, but that is a lot. And he's ready to make his push, but it's just not happening for Zlo. He doesn't seem to want to push. Is that tech? No, okay. I thought I saw a Tech 3 land factory upgrading. I was gonna freak out. Because if Ajax did go for Tech 3 land, that'd be the perfect opportunity for Zlo to attack beforehand while that upgrade was happening. But luckily I saw wrong. It was just a factory upgrading to Tech 2. And Zlo is just sitting in the middle. This definitely has the appearance of an all-in. You see, he completely gave up the left-hand side. He's given up the right-hand side. Tanks are now going to raid his base. For all intents and purposes, this is an all-in, but he's not doing anything. He needs to take his units and kill Ajax now if he wants to have this be successful. Actually, he has the capability to end Ajax. But the longer he just sits there, the worse off he's going to be. This is not the climatic end to the third place match that we would have wanted. And now Ajax can kite these Manti all day long. He's got enough Ilshavas that he's got tremendous firepower. 12 of them there. It'll be extremely hard, if not impossible, to kill those with just Manti, assuming they're microed correctly. Ajax also having second thoughts about his ACU placement. He's just going to go into the nice little lake here. Is this even a lake? It looks like a lake. And Zlo he's not even paying attention to his base. So, yeah, I guess he's realized that he hasn't really done much with his temporary spam advantage. He's being target fired. And Ajax makes short work of Zlo here on Zlo's map selection. And $20 will go to Ajax and the third place avatar. Zlo comes in 4th. And now we're just one video away from wrapping up the Universal Resurrection Cup. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this cast of the third place match. I definitely enjoyed watching that. Very entertaining stuff. And I'll see you guys for the grand final between Blackheart and Petrich Pones. Good night.